Okay, Wall Street, money never sleeps. I have to first say, I actually am a huge fan of the first film. Ironically, I was like 8 when it came out. So yes, as an 8-year-old, I actually enjoyed a financial drama. The best part is you don't need to know that much about the original movie to see the sequel that just came out. You know, Michael Douglas or Gordon Gekko in the movie, he does actually go into probably one of the most cliff-noted versions of what you need to know from the first movie to follow things in the sequel. All I can say is, this is Michael Douglas's movie. Period. Oliver Stone still does a phenomenal job with this film. It's got great pacing. You know, you've got the drama between Shia LaBeouf, Gordon Gekko's daughter, who he's actually madly in love with, as well as Gordon Gekko. The relationship between Shia LaBeouf and Michael Douglas. Shia LaBeouf, Josh Brolin, Michael Douglas. There's interplay between just about every set of characters. And it all comes off well. And I've actually come to this great conclusion about Shia LaBeouf's career. He's like a dancer. However, he can't lead. The scenes with him and Josh Brolin, good. Brolin, those two, they play off together beautifully well. When it's him and Douglas, yeah. This is Douglas's movie, period. He made this character. Who hasn't heard that phrase? Greed is good. And the transformation he goes through in this movie, if you saw the original, you kind of knew he was a money. Most important thing in his life was his bank account, how to make it bigger, how to have a larger financial footprint. When you see him talk to people, and they don't even care who he is, you see somebody who's broken and repentant, but then you still see a little bit of fire, that little bit of, you know what? I'm going to show everybody here. I will. One day I'm going to. One day. But I'll be honest, when they showed all the banks talking, and then they mentioned having to get $700 to $800 billion from the government because my bank is too big to fail. Yeah. I don't know if Oliver Stone was just watching the news during the financial crisis and just kept loose notes and then kept on throwing them into this movie. But yeah, all these bizarre, backroom conversations. It actually feels like this is probably what happened. So if you want to kind of see the recession, how it was dealt with by the people who actually more than likely kind of caused it, or should I say, well, technically we all caused it, everyone in the United States, and for over excess. But the people who really had their hands in the cookie jar, the scene where Gordon Gekko is doing a speech is absolutely an amazing speech about greed and about excess and about how, greed fed into greed, which fed into an envy, because it didn't matter if you were making $300,000 a year. If you knew someone else who was making $50 to $100 million a year, you wanted what they had. There's that level of never being satisfied with what you've got. And then there are twists and turns throughout this movie that don't come that much as a shock, but that play well and show a phenomenal level of depth to the characters, which I haven't seen in a long time. And this is, when me and my wife are coming back, we hadn't seen a movie that essentially was like a financial-based drama in a long time. And I mean, this one deals with a lot of different emotional issues. You've got the daughter dealing with her father coming back, or trying to come back into her life. The speech those two have, yeah. That is an emotional moment in this movie. So it's got everything. This is an emotionally draining and a very great intellectual movie. The one problem I tell people are going to have with this is you're going to walk away either really, really hating financial institutions because they deal with investment banks, and some of the crazy things they did to absolutely maximize profits, or you're going to be kind of mad at everyone else who's involved. You know, because it really does have that greed affected everybody. Period. You know, he describes it as like a malignant tumor. It's a cancer, and it spreads, fast. And when they discussed, you know, they do have a scene where they deal with essentially like a mini financial collapse. And they go through this level of, what are you going to do? And then there's that like minor moment of just the undeniable fear-mongering. Well, yeah, it's about the Great Depression, but it'll be worse, because it'll be faster. And next you know, ATMs will be dried up. And then banks will collapse. You know, if you have collapsed banks, ATMs will be out of money. You'll riot in the streets. We can't let this happen. We need to have the government bail us out. That's it. You're looking at 1 week's time, it's the end of the world. I mean, there are scenes that are done that you could probably tell if you were to be in one of those rooms when those conversations were happening. That's probably how they played out. You had a bunch of old money in a room, living off of, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears of people who didn't quite know the financial markets but decided to give money to people who knew more about it. You know, people who are a moral hazard. I thought that was a great thing to learn on. That's somebody who you give money to, and it doesn't matter what they do with it. They cannot be held responsible for it. Anybody who does anything, 401k, IRAs, there's always that little thing at the very bottom. Like, you know, these returns are not guaranteed. If you lose all of your money, you lose all of your money. That's it. Essentially, it's like a form of gambling. Just, it's not as fast. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But this did a phenomenal job of kind of putting a lot of it into a different perspective. Because, you know, in the beginning, Shia LaBeouf is talking about how certain people are going to lose their jobs. However, those people are making like $300,000 a year. It's hard to feel bad for those people. He gets a bonus of $1.4 million. That's a bonus. Bonus. So the amount of money, I don't even break 50 at my job. That's a year. So, if I work 2 years, that's $100,000. I would need to work 20 years to have $1 million. That's if taxes never existed. Throwing in taxes, I'm looking at probably closer to 40 years. Throwing in any other sort of financial money that I have to spend out at all, it could take me probably close to 50 years to have $1 million. And he get a check for 1.4 as a bonus. So if you want to talk about access, you will get to see it all over the place in this. And you see people react when what threatened the lives of almost everyone else involved. You get to see something referred to as the angry rich. And it's a different look at it. Do you feel sympathetic towards them? Oh, no. No, you don't. No, you don't. But it does get a different perspective on it. So you get to see the people who live in absolute opulence. They show a ball, and you can tell when they're doing the panning, and they're showing women just dripping in jewels. At a $10,000 a seat, you know, benefit. So you get to see lots of that. It's a lot of just undeniable access. But it's done. It's acted beautifully. It's a phenomenal drama. This is probably one of the better movies I've seen in a long time. The Town is good. The Town has action and a good storyline and good acting. This has great acting, no action sequences. But yeah, I could probably go for a little bit longer on this, but that was an amazing movie. Michael Kirk Douglas knocks it out of the park. Oliver Stone, occasionally he could phone in a movie and it'd probably still be better than half of it's out there right now.